The sun had just begun to rise over the narrow pass of Thermopylae, casting a warm glow across the steep cliffs and rocky ground. Among the rows of bronze-clad soldiers stood a young Spartan warrior, his shield locked tight with those beside him, his spear firm in his grip. The smell of salt from the sea mixed with the scent of dust and sweat. In the distance, the deep, steady beat of Persian war drums echoed through the pass like distant thunder. But the young warrior did not waver. He had trained for this moment since he was a boy. Endless days of running, fighting, and learning to feel no fear. Around him stood his brothers, calm and silent. They did not count the enemy. They did not speak of retreat. They stood ready, knowing they faced thousands, knowing they would not leave this place. Yet they were proud. This was Sparta's way, to stand firm, to fight as one, and to write their names in courage on the edge of history. Over 2,000 years ago, in a land called Greece, there was a city-state known for its fearless soldiers and strict way of life. This place was called Sparta. The Spartan army was one of the most feared and respected military forces in the ancient world. From a young age, Spartan boys were trained to be warriors. They were taught to be strong, brave, and never afraid of death. Fighting was not just a skill in Sparta. It was a way of life. Sparta was very different from other Greek city-states like Athens. While Athens focused on art, philosophy, and democracy, Sparta focused almost completely on war. Spartans believed that the best way to protect their land and freedom was through strength and discipline. Boys left home at the age of 7 to begin training in a program called the Agoge. This training was harsh and strict. Boys learned to fight, to survive with little food, and to obey orders without question. They trained in wrestling, sword fighting, running, and using weapons. They were even encouraged to steal food, but punished if they were caught. Not for stealing, but for getting caught. Spartan boys slept on beds made of reeds and wore the same cloak year-round, even in the cold. Their lives were simple and comfort was not allowed. They were taught to be tough, quiet, and loyal. They also learned to speak with few words, which is where the word laconic comes from, named after Laconia, the region of Sparta. Even the way they talked was meant to show strength and control. When a Spartan turned 20, he became a full soldier and joined the army. Spartan men were expected to be soldiers until they were 60 years old. They lived in army groups and ate meals together, even after they married. Being part of the army was more important than family life. Spartan women also had a special role. They were strong and well-educated, and they told their sons, "Come back with your shield, or on it," meaning come back victorious, or don't come back at all. The Spartan army was made up of heavy infantry soldiers called hoplites. A Spartan hoplite wore a bronze helmet with a crest, a red cloak, and carried a large round shield called an aspis. They used a short sword and a long spear. The spear was their main weapon, and they trained to fight in close rows, shoulder to shoulder, in a formation called the phalanx. In this formation, each soldier's shield protected the man to his left. It created a wall of shields and spears that was very hard to break. Spartan tactics focused on discipline and teamwork. Every man knew his place and trusted the others beside him. They didn't break rank, even in the face of danger. They marched into battle slowly and calmly, with music from flutes helping them keep the pace. Other armies often charged quickly, but the Spartans moved like a single body. This made them strong in battle and hard to defeat. One of the most famous Spartan battles was the Battle of Thermopylae in 480 BCE. A massive Persian army led by King Xerxes invaded Greece. To stop them, King Leonidas of Sparta led a small group of Greek soldiers to block the narrow mountain pass at Thermopylae. There were only 300 Spartans, joined by a few thousand other Greeks, facing tens of thousands of Persians. For 3 days, the Spartans held the pass. They fought bravely and killed many enemies. In the end, they were surrounded and killed, but their bravery became a legend. The battle showed the world what courage and discipline could do, even when facing impossible odds. Another famous battle was the Battle of Plataea in 479 BCE. This time, the Greeks won a great victory against the Persians. The Spartan general Pausanias led the Greek army and helped end the Persian threat. The Spartans fought with great skill and helped save Greece from being conquered. Many famous warriors came from Sparta. One was King Leonidas, who led the 300 at Thermopylae. Another was Brasidas, a clever and brave general during the Peloponnesian War, a long war between Sparta and Athens. Brasidas led daring attacks and was respected even by his enemies. These men showed what it meant to be a true Spartan, brave, smart, and willing to give their life for their city. But the Spartan way of life was not easy. Because they focused so much on war, they had little interest in trade, art, or writing. They kept to themselves and didn't build big, beautiful cities like Athens did. Most of their wealth came from the labor of people called helots, who were forced to farm the land. The Spartans often treated them harshly, always fearing they might rebel. As time went on, Sparta began to change. Their population shrank, and fewer men could join the army. Other Greek cities grew stronger in culture and ideas. After many years of power, Sparta was finally defeated in 371 BCE at the Battle of Leuctra by the city of Thebes. The perfect warrior society could not last forever. Still, the legacy of the Spartan army lives on. Their discipline, bravery, and loyalty have inspired people for centuries. Their story is told in books, movies, and classrooms around the world. Even today, calling someone Spartan means they are tough and live simply. The Spartans proved that even a small city, with strong hearts and sharp minds, could become one of the most powerful forces in history.